Good afternoon, welcome to GrainTV. My name is Cody Bills, this is Brock Shimano. Today is November 12th, one day after the WASDE report. Well, we saw some selling again today. Double-digit losses for corn, soybeans, and wheat. Seems like some continuation from the report news that we saw on Friday. Brock, what are some other reasons why we're trading down?
You know, like you said, Cody, I think we are seeing some continuation selling from Friday's reports. I think a couple things driving the markets, especially in the soybean market, is weather in South America. We're seeing a little bit wetter weather for Mato Grosso do Sul. They've been a little bit dry over the month of October, but we're also seeing drier weather where they've been having some planting delays down the southern part of Brazil, northern Argentina. So they're going to be able to get their planting in the ground and get that wrapped up here shortly. They're also working on some winter wheat harvest there, so that's going to help the winter wheat crop as well. You know, I think something else that was really driving the soybean market today, though, was some fund selling. We've seen a lot of longs taken off the table in the last couple of days, about 20,000 longs or so.
Well, the bottom line is we have seen a lot of selling, but with all that selling behind us, do you think we still have more selling to come?
You know, I think $14 will probably hold for the time being. I would imagine that we could probably retest $14.50 or so, but you know, I'm looking at this chart right now. Looks like we're in a longer-term bear market right now. You can see that we're having lower lows and lower highs, so that signals to me that we're probably going to be heading lower here, unless the big question mark here is South American weather as we move into their heart of their growing season. You
know, Brock, I'm a little bit in a disagreement here. You know, I think that the long-term trend really hasn't been broken for soybeans. If you look at the January chart here for 2013, what you're seeing is the long-term trend right around 1377. You're also seeing the 62% retracement right around that 1377. That will provide a little bit of support. $14 isn't that far away. Bottom line, there's a lot of things going on here, and I think that's most likely going to provide some support here, especially after we're oversold. I think after the report we could see one more day of selling maybe, but there's a good chance we'll find a little bit of a floor down there. I think expectations going into the report, they were very bearish. Yeah, we came out, we beat the expectations in terms of bearishness, but I think that we're going to find a floor here. Ending stocks are still incredibly low if you take a look at the last couple of years that have been tight already. Bottom line here, I don't think this bull market's dead. I think we're going to have to pay attention because export sales are very important. We're running ahead of pace there, and South American weather market is still on the horizon.
All right, let's switch gears here a little bit, Cody. Let's talk about corn. Today was the first day in a long time that we've seen corn sell off in a significant way. We have been relatively range-bound over the last several weeks or so, and today we lost about 21 cents. We're heading back towards that $7 level. $7 is pretty significant. Do you think this area is going to be an area of support as we move forward?
Yeah, I think $7 has a good chance of breaking, and I don't know how much lower we're going to go, but the bottom line here, in my opinion, we've seen export sales really be abysmal. And sure, Japan came out last week. Last week they bought some corn. I think that's an exception, not the rule. I think also if you take a look at ethanol, really, we've seen a couple weeks where we come out pretty good ethanol production numbers, but we're kind of after harvest, we're during harvest. Basis is still depressed. When basis starts lifting up there, I'm concerned whether or not they're going to be able to produce at a profitable level. Margins here are still not that good. Sure, we saw corn prices come down today, but we also saw ethanol prices come down. I think we're going to need to see corn come down a little bit more before we see demand spurred by ethanol and export sales as well.
You know, I'm a little bit different camp, I guess. I think $7 will hold. We're going to probably end up getting back into that range that we were just trading in. You know, a couple reasons for that is, you know, I think the feed demand is still there. We haven't really seen a large lowering of the livestock herds, so I think the feed demand is still there. I think ethanol is still relatively robust at this point. We are quite a bit lower than what we were doing last year, but if you take a look at what happened to the ethanol stocks last week, we were down quite a few percentage points on the actual amount of stocks of ethanol. So I think the implied demand is still there for ethanol. Feed demand's still good, but like you said, we're going to have to watch export sales. We did see that big export sale to Japan late last week, but we're going to have to see continued sales over a longer period of time to actually have show good export sale demand.
That sounds fair enough. Well, thanks a lot for tuning in for the Monday report here. Tune in for Tuesday. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. Give us a call at 877-472-4607. Thanks a lot for following us.